Well, hi there. I'm a little late, I guess. Hello, everybody. Ah, hit the like before it started. It's always a good idea. Wipe your feet before you come in the room. Well, I trimmed my beard. I'm not sure I like it. It looks a little skinny somehow. Oh well. J Dog been here all morning. Well, good morning. Nice to see you. Misfit, hello. Oh dear. Hope we pick it up a bit for you this morning, Misfit. Aquarium Cup, hi there. David Piper, good morning. Roxanne, good morning, Roxanne. Um, I looked on your website, did not find your new rendition. I'm gonna I'm gonna just play the old one because I like it real well. In fact, let's do that. See if I can get it up and going here. And I think I figured out something for chat, but we'll see. We'll try it and see if it works. What's going on? Here we go. Right. Got the volume up, and nothing is happening. Why is that? Because my volume is off at the top. So we gotta start over. When I find myself in times of tank trouble, for the fish he comforts me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. And in my time of darkness, he is streaming right in front of me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, atom sand and let it be. Father's words of wisdom, let it be. When all the broken-hearted fishes living in the tank agree, there is an answer, let it be. For though it may be cloudy, there is still a chance that they can see. There is an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be. Add some sand and let it be. There is an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be. Add some sand and let it be. Father's words of wisdom, let it be. Very sweet. Thank you, Roxanne. Such a great way to start the morning. Being serenaded by a lovely woman. All right. Lisa Perez. Hi, Lisa. I see. Roxanne. Lee is fighting with everybody this morning. That's because he mucked it up. Oh dear. uh, Just go down, food. That's all you need to do is go down. Mercy. Ugh. Ugh. Roman Sharrock. Good morning, Roman. Aquatic Conquest. Free Whisperer Miles. Good morning. Billy Dog. Hi, Billy Dog. Cynthia Pons. Good morning from the Philippines. Right. So I've adopted a new policy. And I suppose it's only fair to provide advance notice of the nature of this policy. One of the unintended consequences of monitorization, that is the blue wrench, is that when one who is so designated steps out of line in a significant way, the other monitors are at a loss what to do. They cannot do anything since all monitors are equal. It is my intention, as soon as I figure out how to do it, to designate a few among us as channel managers who will have a level of authority above that of a monitor. In the meantime, for any and all of those monitors who choose to take advantage of their status by stepping out of line, by becoming utterly and contemptibly irascible, it will be my policy from here forward to remove that individual's wrench. They will no longer be blue. They will be as they were before. And that condition will prevail until I deem otherwise. So, let it be so. That will allow monitors to deal with such disdainful irascibility on their own terms. I hope that's clear. Tommy Denda. Good morning. Yes, I did. That's right. Tommy Denda saw it. We hit 4,300 last night. My word, it took 6 weeks to get 100. That was quite a chore. The 4200s, I will never forget. I think I went through 300 subscribers to get that additional 100. For every one new who came on, 2 were taken off. It was a chore, but that seems to have slowed down to a fairly crawl. So we're moving back along now. My goal is to hit 4,500 by the middle of the month, with the goal of 5,000 by the end of the month. That's not achievable, but I have some ideas that I'm going to try that might, if I can get something to go viral, it'll be done. But that seems to not be the simplest thing in the world to do. Lee is saying, I'll be okay. I'll still have my wife Sue, the neurological nurse that does understand me, mostly before my accident and happily for me since. So I will be okay always. Well, amen, and God bless you, Lee. And God bless Sue. Could not be with you more. And we love you, Lee. But we must maintain a certain level of standard. I got up about 4 o'clock this morning, couldn't sleep, so jumped online and ran into a couple of guys who were chatting with each other. Aquarium Cop was there, Chewy was there, a few others. It was only half a dozen people, but I chimed in and then came on and talked for a little while. Finally got sleepy enough to go back to bed. As I was leaving, there were a couple of them were commenting, a couple of the guys, and they said, "You never know who's going to be on here. You really need to be careful and watch yourself because you never know who's going to be on here." And I thought that was delightful. So if there is a standard to be maintained, it must be maintained here. And I'm sorry if that, I've already put people off the channel because I didn't tolerate their handle. So it ain't just a matter of messing up. It's a matter of being, of standing in a way that does not respect any sense of decorum. And I'm sorry to put it that way, but if we can't have that, we really can't have anything. And Lee, I love you, and I cherish you, and I understand as best I can what you are dealing with, but you know as well as I do that when you post certain items that are objectionable, you do it deliberately. So don't do it. It's just really that simple. Please. For the sake of our friendship, for the sake of the joy of all of us here, please don't do it. Jobs, good morning. Roger S. Hello, Roger. Color guppies. Ah, well, there you go. Cassie B. Good morning, Cassie B. Jay's Better Room. Thank you, Jays. David Piper. Thank you, Tommy. Yeah, that's 4,300 is a milestone. It really is. I was just so delighted to see it roll over last night. Fish and Tactics. Fish and Tactics. Good morning. I got my mouth full. Vari Vinker. Hello. Paul C. Good morning, Paul C. David Piper. Good morning, David. Thank you, Lee. I appreciate you. More than you know, more than I could even say. I deeply, deeply appreciate you. I'll tell you frankly, this stream, all of these streams, are really very much the result of my relationship with Lee Wilcox. He has inspired me and motivated me more than anyone to do this, to take it seriously, to get on with it, and to turn it into something worthwhile. And I am forever grateful. And I say what I say, not really to him, because we all know about that, but to all of us and for all of us, myself included. If we're going to go forward with this and make it something that's worthwhile, then we need to do it in a way that's honorable. I think that's it. You know, that shows some discipline, some seriousness of mind. And I'll tell you, my mentor in this is Lucas. Lucas is at all times and always a genteel, kind, thoughtful, and responsible person. At least as far as his online persona is concerned. I don't know him beyond that. And truly, we don't know each other beyond that. Not many of us. So maintaining that sets a standard for each of us, for ourselves, and for each other. That keeps us it keeps us out of the pit because it's too easy to fall into the pit. And too many people do it. And once you're there, you're there. And you really have a hard time getting out of there. So let's just make a shared commitment to not go there. Lisa, be thankful for what we have and not for what we don't have. Hard to be thankful for what we don't have. But I get your point, Lisa. You're right. Jeremy. Color guppies. Okay, let's see if we can't move along from here. Somebody made a comment. It was a Me Too kind of comment, and I lost it. Well, I trimmed my beard, Rowan. David Piper. I love I can come and talk fish with people. Lisa says she puts her foot in her mouth all the time. Don't we all? Don't we all? Thank you. Well, yeah, I told my roommate I was going to trim it. And 2 minutes later, I came out of the bathroom. And he said, well, that didn't take long. Doesn't take long to cut it off. Oh, well. I saw an earlier picture and I kind of liked it. So, and it was really getting scraggly. And I didn't like the scraggle. It's got I need to trim it though. It's got a funny hole in it. Right there. Missed the curls. It's still curly. If I use cream on it, it'll curl right up. Roxanne, thank you. Tommy Denda, what's weird? 4290. Oh, really? Oh, well, that's nuts. That's nuts. Aquatic Conquest. I have about doing a contest, maybe a best photo of a fish or plant or anything else that's aquatic, then make a stream based on those photos. There's an interesting idea. That would be fun to do, wouldn't it? Oh. Kenny D. Well, now Kenny D's saying he likes his beard just as it is. You have to see Kenny's beard to appreciate that. Kenny's beard is down to his belt buckle, or if not, mighty close to it. Is it quite that long, Kenny? It's a long beard, kind of long and narrows, tapers down. And it's gray, as I recall. Long gray beard. Kenny is a distinctive character. And easily the most gentle, thoughtful, kind, considerate person you could possibly ever meet. An absolute gentleman. Susan is here. Hello, Susan. Good morning. Ah, Logan's. Hello, Logan's Aquatics. Paul C. Father Fish placed some fish in a tub outside in just weeks. They're twice the size. Is it just because they eat green algae? It's because they have a constant source of food. The sun creates an environment that just causes life to explode. Excuse me. That causes life to explode in the system. We don't see in our tanks nearly what nature provides that you can see in a tub in the sun. I have the same experience. I like to put baby bettas in outdoor tubs because they just jump up in size, and you get a bunch of baby bettas. Excuse me, in a vat, and it is something to behold. If any of you follow Dexter, Dexter has a friend who raises bettas, and looking at his swarm of bettas in the top of his vat is just so stunning and so beautiful. It's really amazing. And that's really all it is. It's the sun. The sun provides a quantity and excuse me, I don't know what to call it, but not a volume or size or a measure of life that overwhelms. I was thinking about this in a different context last night, and thinking that, the real issue in our fish tanks is to recognize the preponderance of life in the tank and the exuberance of that life and the attempt of that life to dominate the entire system. And each individual in that system is seeking the same thing. I was talking about competition yesterday, and it's really not competition so much as it's self-expression. It's a plant thrusting into the sunlight and becoming so big and so strong and so powerful that other lesser creatures are left in its shadow. There are living things like that in their exuberance for life thrust themselves up and beyond all the other critters around them. And they become dominant not by virtue, they become dominant not by virtue of any attempt to harm, to destroy, to restrict, or to limit, but out of the sheer exuberance of living and fulfilling all that is in them to be. That, my friends, is the lesson we must relearn. Not to be afraid of ourselves, not to be afraid of our exuberance, not to be intimidated by that exuberance in ourselves or in another. but to celebrate it. Hi, Betsy.
Good morning, you're a grandpa for the third time.
Oh my!
Another one hamster.
We're getting baby quail.
Yeah.
We have 3 baby quail so far.
Yep.
There you go. Perfect example. What is life being born but the exuberance of that life? The desire to be born. The desire to be born. How can we be so insufferably evil in our hearts that we pretend our own private, personal comfort ought to preclude the possibility I'm not going to say another word. Not another word. Cassie B. Tetras do well with Val. They do indeed. Val does well with Val. Val is one of those plants. You saw how it's growing on Lee's tank, just going around and around on the top of his tank. That's an exuberant plant. That's a plant that just takes joy in its growth. Patrick Paulson wants to know what plants are best for glow light tetras, or for that matter, most any other tetra or small fish. One of the plants I have liked since I was a little kid is water sprite. Water sprite is a plant that, once it gets itself established, just explodes with life and sends off babies hither and yon. It just it grows no matter where you put it. If it's on the surface, if it's in the dirt, it just explodes in life. There are others that are really nice. A lot of the stem plants, the kabambas, anacris, those of course are all great plants for little fish, particularly for tetras, because they provide so much cover, not only in their proximity to each other, but on each of the stems. They provide cover for tiny fish, particularly for baby fish, and also for eggs. Now, those would be some of my favorites. Plants from Australia. Thank you, Kenny D. I'm backing up a little bit. Cassie B, I got your box in the mail yesterday. It brought a smile to my face. Thank you very much for the gifts. You're very welcome, Cassie B. You've been very kind to me, and it's just a token of my appreciation. I'm feeling pretty good, Logan. I was talking to a dear friend last night, somebody I've known for many years, a lady friend who I've had varying kinds of relationships with, including marriage, actually. We were talking, we talk every week. And I said, she was saying, well, you're going to be 80 in a few days. I said, yeah, about 5 days, 6 days. But I might not make it. She said, oh, you'll make it. You'll make it. I said, well, probably, but I've got so many things that could happen. I mean, I've got a bad heart. I've got diabetes. I'm overweight. I got one kidney. I got no gallbladder. I got, all kind of heart issues. I could go tonight and not make it to 80. And she said, oh, you'll make it to 80 and beyond. And, maybe I will. Perhaps I will. I hope if I do, I can do so with joy and with love in my heart. Because it's just not worth living otherwise. If I am, I cannot imagine living miserable, living bitter, living hatefully, living in contempt. And I have a couple of very dear friends who in recent years have become seriously ill. And they deal with it in different ways, but one of them, bless his soul, deals with it by being kind and gentle most of the time, but every once in a while he just goes off and becomes angry and hostile and bitter. And if he did not couch it in political terms, it would make it easier to deal with. That makes it a little more difficult. But I find all I can really do for him is pray, knowing that that's the one influence he denies to himself. He denies to himself the presence of God. And I guess that's really the source of his bitterness, of his darkness. Because if you don't have God in your heart, you certainly have a demon. There is no third option. You can claim otherwise, but it doesn't make it so. False claims don't change reality. They're simply false. I'm getting way off track here today. Way off track. Let's see if we can get back on track. Anyone catch the GCast stream last night with David Wilson? Really cool. Saw some new fish. Did not. All right. Let's move down here. Kenny D. Fatherfish 100-gallon tank. Not cracked. Shattered. Looks like a blemish in the glass near one section. It's safe to use. If you have any question about a tank, about the safety of a tank, set it up in a place where it's not going to destroy your house, your furnishings, or the like if it goes. I remember one tank I built. I used a refrigerator liner. I don't know if any of you have ever done this. The old refrigerators had liners inside. You'd pull that liner out, and then I cut. It's a solid construction piece, so I cut a window in it and siliconed, I guess, a piece of glass in it and filled it up. And it was pretty big, easily 100 gallons. Held water really well. And I had African cichlids in it. This was back in about 1968 or so, 69, maybe right around 1970. I had it on the side porch, and I stood up from looking at it, went in to answer the phone, and heard a boom, and walked back out, and a piece of glass about that big had come out of that tank when it gave out, and was stuck in the wall on the opposite side of the room. There, but for the grace of God, that wall could have been me. You need to be a little careful about old and weak tanks. The main thing is they're likely to leak, but they can explode. Now, typically, a tank is not going to do that. I mean, that was kind of an extraordinary circumstance that combined a number of very bad elements, such as a frame that had no integrity. It simply blew out. It held as long as it could. The glass held it together as long as it could, but glass is a crystalline structure, and it just went boom and was gone. So I never fixed that shell of a tank. Rohan is talking to Kenny D about microorganisms that feed on algae. Yes, that's exactly right. Algae is a basic food source for uh, microscopic animals and some that are not so microscopic, like Daphne rotifer. I don't know about paramecium. Yeah, probably paramecium feed on algae. Brine shrimp feed on algae. Little tiny shrimp, like all of the little shrimp that we collect, feed on algae. Lots of little tiny life feeds on algae. So if you've got an algae growth in your tank, if you can get green water going, that green water will sustain microculture of animalcules, which will then populate sufficiently to be able to offer them as food to your small fish. So putting buckets and barrels and the like outdoors in the sun and providing some nutrition. I have a friend who raises algae to feed his rotifer culture that he feeds to his baby clownfish, saltwater clownfish. He feeds his algae leaves and bugs. He puts jugs smallmouth jugs, big ones, out in the sun, and they'll throw a couple of leaves or a dead bug in the water, and he grows algae that way. And then he feeds the algae very carefully to his rotifer culture or his copepods, whatever he's feeding. He does it carefully because he doesn't want to get the rotifer back into the algae. It'll ruin the culture. It'll just eat it all. It'll populate and overwhelm it. So he keeps his algae, but keeping the bugs out of the algae. Can you dump brine shrimp outside in a barrel? Yeah, you've got to dump them in the water they're in. You can't dump them in fresh water; they won't live. Better than a barrel, uh, a, a tray or a bin, something smaller. When you're finished hatching your brine shrimp and pull the babies out, the water that's left, take it outside and dump it in a tray, just like a shoebox, something a little bigger maybe. And each time you're finished, do that. Each time you got a little bit of water left from your hatching, you don't want to rehatch it. Throw it in that container, and then do that for a week or 2 weeks. And then after that, start another one. Within 2 to 3 weeks, you will have adult brine shrimp in sufficient quantities to be able to feed them to your fish, and you've done nothing to bring it about. It occurs absolutely naturally. The sunlight will create algae. The shrimp will eat the algae, and they'll grow, and they'll flourish. And you can even get a population of them going, a permanent population. Won't be a lot of them unless you feed them heavily, but you can do it. Yeah, Cassie B, just saying the same thing. That's right. You want to throw it in a designated tub is the issue, not in with fresh water. It's a saltwater animal. In fact, it's an animal that lives in water that is excessively salt. In Salt Lake City, the water in that lake is so salty, fish cannot survive in it. But brine shrimp do in vast quantities. The salt flats in San Francisco, which are being filled in and done away with, as I understand it, were originally maintained in order to harvest salt. They would let the water in from the bay, evaporate it out, collect the salt. It's more recent years been used to harvest brine shrimp because of the salt content. The high lakes in the Andes Mountains are red with brine shrimp, and also with species of algae that are extremely high in mineral content, and it's all very, very salty water. My oldest unrestored fish tank. Well, I had one that I gave to an aquarium museum in San Francisco. That was about 130 years old. It was given to me by a man who was, when he was 80, he gave it to me. His father gave it to him when he was a little boy. Don't know how old, 5 to 10, in the late 1800s. So I got it in about 1980, 1975, I think. He got it in about 1895. Other than that, my oldest unrestored tank, I do have a small collection of metaframe tanks from the 50s. They're like 70, 60, 60, 70 years old. One or two of them are still holding water. In fact, I think I've got one. I've got a 50 or 60 metaframe set up, unrestored, original, without silicone. Somehow it's maintained. I don't know how it's done it, because that tar dries, and it just dries and cracks and disintegrates over time. But this one's still holding water. So yeah, about 60, 65 years, I guess. Oldest unrestored tank. You can survive or you can thrive. Lisa, we all need a little positive encouragement. Amen. Amen. David Piper, always set up an old tank outside. Fill it and wait 2 weeks to watch the leaks before bringing it inside the house. Always a good idea. I sell a lot of used tanks, and that's my first word of advice: is set it up outside on a smooth concrete pad, put it on a board, on a stand if you can, and fill it. And let it sit there and make sure it doesn't leak before you bring it in the house. I'm firmly committed to fish rooms, primarily as a way of saving one's house, because fish tanks have a way of leaking. Of the water coming out of the tank and landing on the floor. Happens all the time. Okay, here we go. Cassie B says, I don't like sermons that make you feel bad about yourself. Yeah, amen. Yeah, I don't either. But I'll tell you something. There's some people who they already feel bad about themselves and they don't admit it. They just transfer it into feeling bad about other people. And they're the ones that need to be made to feel bad about themselves, because they're the ones that need to be brought to attention for their own condition. Because until you're honest with yourself, you're not going to be able to do anything. And if your whole theme in life is it's your fault, I'm messed up, then you're going to stay messed up. And you're never going to get over it, because you're not accepting personal responsibility for the problems. Maybe somebody is doing something that upsets you, but that's you being upset. That's not them. unless they know how to manipulate you. And if they do, then shame on you for allowing yourself to be manipulated. Boy, we're in a mood today, aren't we? Whoa. Sunday sermon with Father Fish. I guess I missed the pulpit. We need to do a stream on my inspirational channel, Susan. Yes, you're right. We do indeed. Happy to do it. All right. I think I've gone back to where I was before. Where are we now? David Piper says, hi, Mary. Got a chance to pop in and chat for a minute. He's at work, so he can't do much of it. And Susan saying, oh, my, this is good stuff. Oh, yeah, you would appreciate it, Susan. You would. Not everybody else would. Oh, dear. Patrick Paulson with a big, what is that? What is that emoji? I think he's laughing. Cassie B, we need to learn how to feel good about ourselves. Yeah, and not at the expense of other people. You know, I mean, yes, we do. And that goodness that we feel about ourselves should be an exuberance. Here it is. Here's the way to do that. The way to do that is to predicate your life. We're all Western culture people here, so you should be able to get this. Well, not all of us, but nearly all of us. In order to feel genuinely good about ourselves, we've got to also be able to feel genuinely good about the world we live in. And how do we do that? We apply a discipline. A discipline. And the discipline says, this is the way I'm going to relate to myself and to everyone else. And what is that? What is that discipline? What is that way in which we choose to relate? It goes, if I may, it goes directly to our fish tank and to how we relate to our fish tank. Look at Lee. Pay attention to Lee. What is Lee's primary relationship to his fish? What is it you hear him say the most about his personal relationship with his fish? He loves them. He loves them. Now, he doesn't love them because they give him a nice warm feeling. This is not a sentiment. This is a discipline. This is an act of choice. It's a behavioral principle is love. It is the way we choose to relate. We relate with love. Couple comes into a psychiatrist, says, we've fallen out of love. And we want you to help us get it back. And he said, well, do it. What do you mean? Do it. Just do it. So when we can't fall back in love again, oh, no, wait. Now you're talking about something else. Now you're talking about a sentiment, a feeling, an emotion. That's not what love is. Love is a principle. It's a discipline. It's a choice. It's a behavior that we choose to apply in our lives. Do it. Do love. It's an active verb. It's not a passive verb. Oh, I don't know where that came from. Hi, Joanna. Mercy. I don't know. I was up late last night thinking about all this stuff. It ain't all, I guess cutting my beard did. I don't know. It's weird. I haven't done this ever. I haven't done this. Why am I doing this? I started out doing this. I don't know. I kind of want to relate everything to it too. You know, particularly fish-wise. I mean, it seems to me just so manifestly obvious that anyone who's maintaining a tropical fish tank is doing so as a way of generating an environment, creating an environment where life will flourish. And that's a very disciplined thing to do. There's certain people who do it in a more disciplined fashion than others. We've talked about that a little bit. I'm not particularly disciplined about it at all. And the reason I'm not is really for effect, because I want more people doing it and not being intimidated by trying to get it going. I want more people to be able to trust the process, to trust throwing some dirt in a tank, covering up with some sand and filling it with water and throwing some plants and fish in it. Do that. Just do that. That's all you need to do. Throw some mud in the tank, cover it up with sand, fill it with water without stirring it all up, throw some fish and plants in it, and sit back. And it'll live. It'll thrive, it'll grow. It will achieve everything that you want it to achieve, because you're giving it the foundation of life. And the foundation of life is just that. And it's done with a desire to bring that about. So that desire in itself encourages, by the way you do it, encourages the very life you're trying to get to spring up. So you put it into what you're doing and it comes out. Mary Page, be kind. We all have our own problems. You never know who's watching. You may be helping and don't even know it. True enough, Mary Page. True enough. Yeah, I think one of the things I really admire and appreciate about the fish fam is the discipline of love that has grown up. I've been kind of panning the leadership lately, but they deserve vast credit for this, for creating an environment of acceptance, of love, of kindness, of not speaking ill of each other. And that goes a long, long way, and allows and encourages people to be comfortable coming in and doing what they're struggling to find ways to do what they're trying to do. This is not an easy thing. It's not a natural thing. It's not something that occurs, oh, isn't that slick? That's easy. I can do that. It's really not that way for most of us. For most of it, it's difficult. It's tricky. And it takes a lot of encouragement. And I've had a lot of encouragement over this past year. You know, I've tried to acknowledge it as it comes along. Certainly have not acknowledged all of it, because a lot of it I haven't even been aware of. Some of it, certainly. But there have been those who have very vocally encouraged me, and it's given me the courage to go on and to try to do more, and to try to make something of this that will be a reflection of of what I believe in and what I'm committed to. David Piper, I love my fish too. I love getting everything set up and just watching, teaching others how to do it, all that stuff. Yeah, amen, David. That's really, really, really what it's all about. I thought last night as I was thinking through all this stuff that my next video, I think is going to be directed to uh, the 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 skilled fish keepers among us, those who have been at this for 10 years and more, who really know what they're doing, and encourage them to take the next step, start a club, get children in the community involved with tanks, bring your hobby into the schools, into the church, into your social club. Be an ambassador for your hobby and bring it into your local physical community. It's one thing to do this online, kind of anonymously and amorphically, talking to the walls and assuming that that the walls have ears and that somehow the walls are going to hear you and respond. Well, maybe, but it's vital to reach those families and children in your local community, your neighbors, your friends, with your hobby, and find ways to share that. Find ways to build that and to become a father fish, if you will. You know, to become a source for people who want to get excited about this hobby. Be a source for excitement. Be the place people go to when they want to find a new fish or do something new or have a great idea that's stupid as can be. And you tell them that. You tell them how to make it work. Be that person. 46 watching, 36 likes. Mary Pigs, thank you. You know what? I don't even have. I gotta do it. I don't even have YouTube up. Let me get it up and hit my like button. I have a live now here. There we go. Right there. We're almost
Today I'm going to show
watching.
you how to make a superfood that'll last.
Let's see. 3, 2, 1. Skip ads. And what am I going to do here? All right. I'm going to jump down and click on the like button. 45. Started streaming 67 minutes ago. So we got a little time. Let's see. Let's do. Let me back out here a minute. I need to take a small break. So let's pop in. Let's pop in here.
Hello, Mary. Mary, try and sort this one out. Let's talk about fish, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that may be. Let's talk about fish. Let's talk about fish, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that can be. Let's talk about fish. Fish. Let's talk about fish. Let's talk about fish. Instrumental break. fish, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that may be. Let's talk about fish. Let's talk about fish. 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 Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that may be. Let's talk about fish. Let's talk about fish. Fish. I think that one will do. I'll play it back and I'll see what I think. I think it's probably the nuts. And that'll be the one. And you can play around with all of it and decide what you want to do in your production stream for Savada Fish.
I found my way to Father Fish. He comes on in the morning every day. Add some soil, cap it with sand, then add plants. He will help you do it the right way. Add some fish, then walk away. Feed them high quality food. Live food is best. Keep it dirted, keep it all natural. I found my way back to Father Fish. Bye.
Hi, sweetie. Thank you so much. Well, where's Father Fish? Ha! I lost myself. Goodness sakes, what did I do? Huh. Well, that's strange. Let's get the other camera up. That's interesting. I don't know what I've managed to do here. Do we still have sound? Can you hear me? I've lost the original camera. I'm assuming this one is still up. Are we okay? Mary Page. My oldest fish I ever had were 4 iridescent sharks in a 75-gallon. Woo. Because I didn't know better back then. I ended up giving them away after 8 years. Do you know how big iridescent sharks get? Does anyone here know how big iridescent sharks get? Anyone? 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 How big does an iridescent shark get? Thank you, Patrick. Huge, Roxanne says. Yes. How huge do iridescent sharks get? Pepin Creek says, I have some 13-year-old salt and pepper Corys. Wow, that's pretty cool. Didn't have any idea they lived that long. GRB says Ohio Fish Rescue has some 3 foot. That's pretty good. I've seen pictures of them coming out of Vietnamese ponds, fish ponds, 6 foot long. Monstrous fish. They are monstrous fish. They get utterly enormous. Tisha. Yeah, Hetrick saying 4 to 5 foot. Yep. Down the wormhole, 2 feet, guess. Ollie Gibbs, 4 feet. Monstrous fish. What else gets really big that's in the hobby? Well, we all know about red-tailed cats. I've got one right now that's 3 foot, but they get a lot bigger than that. Red-tailed cat can probably get 6 to 8 foot. Here's the thing about those kinds of fish. And I don't know how you categorize those kinds of fish from other little tiny, teeny tiny kinds of fish. But the fish that get real big, they get real big because they never stop growing. They continue to grow until they die. And they grow based on food supply, obviously. And they also reach a point where their girth is so substantial that their growth rate slows down. But they do nevertheless continue to grow. So a fish that's 5 feet long and has taken 20 years to get 5 feet may take another 20 years to get 6 feet, simply because it's so big that growth has to occur, I guess, in so many different ways that it kind of slows down the process. But theoretically, these are fish that never stop growing. They die not from old age because they don't have an aging gene. They die from predation, somebody bigger eating them, or somebody very tiny eating them. They die from in water conditions that are impossible for them to sustain themselves in. And that can be any number of things. They die from lack of nutrition, and they can survive a long, long, long time with no nutrition. They die from disease, from some foul dread virus or parasite or bacteria infecting them, or some genetic cancer or some such thing, just ruining their ability to sustain themselves. Those are 4. Think of a 5th. Environmental, but that's really water quality. Those are the things they died from, not growing old and getting a gray beard and having so many things wrong with you. You lose track of it all. So, theoretically, they can live forever. Theoretically. But fish like that, a fish that that we can say, oh, what's the maximum size? Well, 4 foot. And then somebody finds a 5 foot and somebody else finds a 6 foot, and it could go to 10 feet. It could go to 15 feet. Lord knows. They could, if they can live a couple of 100 years, they can get pretty big. Let's see. Do they ever stop growing? Thomas says, no, they actually don't. So long as they have food to eat and their conditions are such that they can continue to grow, they will continue to grow. They just grow, they grow more slowly as they get bigger. Holly Gibbs, 2 plecos over a foot long, rehomed to a koi pond. Yeah, that's what I do. I get people bringing big plecos in here all the time, and I put them in koi ponds. I sell them to people who are looking for a cleaner upper in their koi pond. 6 foot, yeah, crazy is right, Rohan, but it's true. Aquatic Conquest is saying the Amanos are the oldest in my tank. March 2020, first week of the pandemic. David Piper is talking about people. A friend of his kept walleye. Yeah, that's a lurking predator. They just sort of hang there until something comes by, and then they move like grease lightning, and they're all over it before you even saw it happen. Amazing fish, these lurking predators. I have a couple of lurkers that are steam shovel fish. I call them steam shovel fish. Leaf fish is one. I've got a leaf fish, and what's the other one? From the Far East, the datnoid. They they um, they snap their jaw open so fast it creates a suction and sucks a little fish right into their mouth. Hi, Rat. Good morning. Nice to see you. Alrighty, Tommy. Smart Aleck, Acestrinchus minimus. Acestrinchus minimus. You know what the problem? There's a problem with SteamYard. You can't copy. I would have looked this up and I can't copy it, and I'm kind of at a loss because I'll never remember how to spell it. All right, let's try Acestrinchus. Acestro Rynchus minimus Minimus. I don't know if I got it. Pulcatus. Red-tailed freshwater barracuda is the Pulcatus. What's the minimus? Not finding a minimus. I'm finding a red-tailed barracuda. Let's do a picture of it, and we'll call it up maybe. I don't think I can. I don't think I can. Let me try it. I think if I try to call it up, I'm going to lose. I'm going to lose my picture. I'm kind of stuck. Oh well, I'll be stuck then. 9:45. We're gonna the goonch, yeah, the goonch. What is this new norm for bettas? What are we talking about? Oh, he's here. He's hanging around. He ain't gonna go away. Not gonna happen. No, I can't find the minimus, Tommy. I found the red-tailed barracuda, which is oh, there it is. I did find it. It's the pike. Let's see. I can do this. I'm gonna lose my picture doing it. So there it is. Oh, Massey report. Rhett, how's your elbow? What are we talking about? Bettas. Yeah, bettas typically 2 to 5 years. David's saying he had one that lived 9 years. Walking catfish. Bye, Betsy. Thank you. Arowana, alligator gar, arapama, rays, and carps. All big fish and a lot of catfish. A lot of catfish get really, really big. I think the issue, now one of the things that Mary Page is finding with her betta is that there are genetic limitations that we really can't do much about. We can maintain perfect conditions, but if the fish's genes break down at a given point, there's not much we can do to fix that. They can be selectively bred to live longer. So if you've got a 9-year-old betta, I would try to spawn it with something, see if you can get it to do one last push. Because you're going to have something that's genetically pretty strong. Marijuana in Tibet, Rohan says. I don't know about that. We talked about somebody's calling locally. Father Fish.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Hi. I was calling to see if you had any super worms today.
Yes, I do.
All right. Fabulous. You're open until what time?
I'll be here until 4 o'clock.
Great. Thank you.
You bet. Super worms. Don't know about Tibet. We were talking about the red arowana yesterday or day before and I've forgotten the name of the country again. Somebody remind me. It's not there. It's not Tibet. Tibet's on the other side of India or north of India. This is east of India. And it's not Bali. That's in the Indian Ocean, south of India. Some things just don't come up in the brain when I want them to. What else? Let's see. Vinny is here. Hi, Vinny. Good to see you. Massey's having trouble getting rid of the infection in his elbow. That's rough. Hang in there, Rat. Make it happen. We need to be praying for Rhett's elbow. This is becoming a chronic problem, and it's something that needs to be resolved. Just want to pray that infection out of his elbow. Pray him healed and whole and able to move forward with his life without this infection. Amen. Mary Page, one time at the bait shop, there were baby channel cats. Baby wrong about what kind. I put them in my 75 and they got really big fast. They went to Lake Cumberland. Yeah, they do come in. Baby catfish come in with feeders all the time. We got them here. They usually are some kind of a channel cat, a river cat, a creek cat, whatever, channel cat. A cat that'll get real big, like 2-3 foot long. They get real big. Pablo Dormond. Hello, Pablo. Looks like the 10 o'clock crowd is moving in. Oh, that'd be cool. Cassie B. Breeding her orchid male with crown female. That would be pretty. Down the wormhole, having trouble getting superworms. Oh, we got them locally. There's a farm just right nearby us that does superworms. I don't know if I've got the number or not. Let me look. Give you a phone number. Bugs. Got it under B for bugs. Used to be called Lazy H bugs. I'll type the number in for you. Well, what did I do? (707) 776 6108. They'll give you an online source for ordering. They come out of Southwest Florida, and they do have a couple of different. They have crickets as well, and they've usually got the large superworm. They do a small one. They also do the big grub. A few other things. Give them a buzz. See if that'll help. Banjo cats. No, I don't think banjo cats get huge, Holly. I've had banjo cats. That's a fish that'll live a very, very long time, and they don't seem to grow much at all. Biggest one I've ever seen was probably 4 inches. Mary Page, yes. Banjo cats are fine. Don't get real big. Oh, that's right. You're in Canada. Probably can't ship them across the line either. Bummer. Vinny needs to be on the wrench list. Let me get over to, I've got to be in YouTube to do this. Let's see. I need to kill the volume. Top chat change to live chat. Yeah, I've not been here all day. Let's see. Looking at who does not have a wrench. Vinny is the first one that comes up. We're going to deal with that right now. Vinny is now a wrench meister. Who else? We're pretty well covered here, aren't we? Oh my. Amazing. Amazing. Pablo. All right, we're going to have to, since Pablo's the only person here who's not a moderator, we're going to make Pablo an honorary moderator, which is the same as being a real moderator. We just call it honorary. Here's another one. Morgan Freilich. Another honorary moderator here. All right. How are we doing time-wise? We're getting down to it. Started a little late, but I'm not going to run over. I got my preaching out of my system, and we got kind of back down to north. We're at 52 thumbs up with 44 watching. Bless you all. Wonderful to have everybody here. It's been a rich and rewarding experience, I trust, for everyone. Cassidy's going to have fun putting the notes together on this one. I'll be most curious to see what you come up with. And looks like subscribers are back up to 4.3. So hopefully we haven't lost much. And let's get down. Let's see. Tell you what we're going to do. We're going to do...
Hello, Mary.
Meister.
Mary, try and sort this one out.
There we go.
Let's talk about fish, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that may be. Let's talk about fish. Let's talk about fish, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that can be. Let's talk about fish. Fish. Let's talk about fish. Let's talk about fish. Instrumental break. Let's talk about fish, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that may be. Let's talk about fish. Let's talk about fish. 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 Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that may be. Let's talk about fish. Let's talk about fish. Fish.
Bye, guys.
I think
Wonderful
that
to
one
be
will do.
with you all. See you in the morning. Bye for now.